In this video, we delve into the profound implications of Trump's America on climate policy, marked by a notable withdrawal from the Paris Agreement and a stark retreat from green initiatives. We'll examine the justifications behind this controversial decision, the rollback of crucial environmental protections, and the aggressive expansion of fossil fuels. Additionally, we will discuss how these actions have hindered the transition to renewable energy, the reaction from automakers regarding fuel efficiency standards, and the broader consequences on the nation's climate leadership. With insights into state-level environmental initiatives and the Biden administration's push to reverse these trends, we'll explore the current state of America's climate strategy and its future direction. 1. The U.S. withdrawal from the Paris Agreement. In November 2020, the United States made a significant move by officially withdrawing from the Paris Agreement. This decision marked the U.S. as the only country to step away from this global pact, which aims to combat climate change. The Paris Agreement, adopted in 2015 by nearly every nation, seeks to limit global warming to below 2 degrees Celsius. Trump's administration argued that the deal was unfair to the U.S., claiming it imposed heavy economic burdens. This withdrawal raised concerns globally, as the U.S. is one of the largest emitters of greenhouse gases. The absence of the U.S. from this agreement was seen as a setback in global efforts to address climate change. 2. Justifications for the withdrawal. President Trump justified the withdrawal by emphasizing the economic impact of the agreement on American jobs and industries. He argued that the Paris Agreement disadvantaged American workers, particularly in industries like coal and manufacturing. Trump claimed that adhering to the agreement would cost the U.S. economy trillions of dollars and result in job losses. This perspective resonated with his base, particularly in regions heavily reliant on fossil fuels. However, critics argued that the long-term benefits of the agreement, such as reduced climate-related disasters, outweighed the short-term economic costs. Despite these criticisms, Trump's administration remained steadfast in its decision. 3. Reversal of environmental protections. During his tenure, Trump's administration reversed over 100 environmental protections. These rollbacks included easing limits on industrial emissions and relaxing drilling regulations. The administration argued that these measures were necessary to boost economic growth and reduce regulatory burdens on businesses. However, environmentalists warned that these rollbacks would lead to increased pollution and environmental degradation. For instance, the rollback of emission standards allowed for more pollutants to be released into the atmosphere, contributing to air quality issues. The impact of these decisions was felt across the nation, sparking debates on the balance between economic growth and environmental protection. 4. Fossil fuel expansion. Trump prioritized the expansion of fossil fuels, a move that aligned with his administration's energy dominance agenda. He approved new oil pipelines and opened federal lands for drilling, aiming to boost domestic energy production. This approach was intended to reduce dependence on foreign oil and create jobs in the energy sector. However, critics argued that this focus on fossil fuels hindered the transition to renewable energy sources. The approval of projects like the Keystone XL pipeline faced opposition from environmental groups, who highlighted the environmental risks involved. Despite these concerns, the administration continued to push for fossil fuel expansion. 5. Slowed transition to renewable energy. While global investment in renewable energy surged, the U.S. slowed down its transition under Trump's policies. Other countries were making significant strides in adopting solar, wind, and other renewable energy sources. In contrast, the U.S. saw a decline in clean energy investments during this period. This slowdown was attributed to policies favoring fossil fuels and a lack of federal incentives for renewable energy projects. The U.S. lagged behind countries like China and Germany, which were leading the charge in renewable energy adoption. This shift had implications for the U.S.'s competitiveness in the global energy market. 6. Automakers opposing fuel efficiency rollbacks. Major automakers found themselves at odds with Trump's rollback of fuel efficiency standards. These companies warned that the rollbacks would hinder innovation and competitiveness in the automotive industry. Automakers had invested heavily in developing fuel-efficient and electric vehicles, anticipating stricter environmental regulations. The rollback threatened to undermine these investments, potentially giving an edge to foreign competitors. Additionally, consumer demand for greener vehicles was on the rise, further motivating automakers to maintain higher efficiency standards. Despite the administration's stance, many automakers continued to pursue environmentally friendly technologies. 7. Loss of climate leadership. The U.S. lost its leadership role in climate diplomacy during Trump's presidency. As the U.S. stepped back, China and the European Union emerged as leaders in global climate efforts. These regions took decisive actions to reduce emissions and promote sustainable practices. The absence of U.S. leadership was felt in international climate negotiations, where American influence had previously been significant. This shift in leadership raised concerns about the future of global climate cooperation. The U.S.'s retreat from climate diplomacy was seen as a missed opportunity to drive international progress on environmental issues. 8. Impact on climate science funding. Under Trump's administration, funding for climate science was cut, limiting research into global warming and environmental sustainability. These cuts affected various federal agencies and research institutions, hindering their ability to study climate change impacts. The reduction in funding raised concerns about the U.S.'s ability to address future environmental challenges. Scientists warned that without adequate research, the nation would be ill-prepared to respond to climate-related threats. The cuts also had implications for global climate research, as U.S. institutions had been at the forefront of studying climate change. 9. State-level environmental initiatives. Despite federal inaction, states like California continued enforcing strict environmental policies. These states took matters into their own hands, implementing measures to reduce emissions and promote renewable energy. California, for instance, set ambitious targets for carbon neutrality and invested in clean energy technologies. These state-level initiatives demonstrated a commitment to combating climate change, even in the absence of federal leadership. The actions of these states provided a blueprint for other regions, showcasing the potential for localized environmental efforts. However, the lack of a cohesive national strategy posed challenges for coordinated climate action. 10. Reversal by the Biden administration. The Biden administration quickly reversed many of Trump's climate policies, signaling a renewed commitment to environmental issues. One of the first actions taken was rejoining the Paris Agreement in early 2021. This move was welcomed by global leaders and environmentalists, who saw it as a step towards restoring U.S. leadership in climate efforts. The administration also prioritized investments in clean energy and reintroduced regulations to reduce emissions. These actions marked a significant shift from the previous administration's approach, aiming to position the U.S. as a leader in the fight against climate change. The swift policy changes underscored the importance of federal leadership in addressing environmental challenges.